Afternoon, guys. My name is Dumisan Hlope. I bring this message to talk to our church members, to talk to our Sabbath schools, to talk to our branches, to talk to our company, to talk to our churches, to talk to our zones, districts, and to talk to our conferences, to talk to our um, uh, unions, to talk to our general conference and our divisions. And this is my message directed to our leaders and mostly to the general conference president, Brother Ted Wilson. This message I record today in South Africa because we experience a pandemic that spreads throughout the entire world. Now, here in South Africa, we are not exempt from it. We also caught the flu while someone coughed. And I would like to say this in a broken heart, in a broken spirit of what I have experienced. We have missed 2 Sabbaths in South Africa without going to church normally, and we are yet to go to the third Sabbath without attending church. Now, my concern is this one. Our church buildings at this moment are closed for 21 full days without rendering any services to the people of this country. Now, here is my concern. We are the followers of Jesus Christ. That's what I believe. That's what this movement stands for. And the things that I want to say, I would say them without fear or favor. I would start by number one. In South Africa, we have children which are street kids. I'm sure even in the United States you have Brother Ted, and I'm sure in Joburg we also have them. So if we have our churches closed, we are not attending church, we do not have one person who is there trying to help during this time of the crisis. It is what that worries me. It's we could have had our churches opened so that we can have members or these street kids or these orphans that do not have where they can stay and offer them shelter there. And while they are there, they would offer an opportunity so that the medical personnel could go to our churches to test the people and to further assist them with what we as the movement cannot assist them with. Now, we have 21 days of lockdown, which was a good move, a good stance. But that 21 days did not serve us in a proper way. We are on day 12 now, and this day 12, I want to say this. Maybe in big towns like Cape Town, maybe in big towns like Joburg, maybe in big towns like Bloemfontein, maybe in big towns like Durban, people have the opportunity to go and test. But in our small towns, schools are closed, churches are closed, taverns are closed, and all these other places are closed. Where I would like to say and encourage the church that it is good that they are closed, but one place that should have not been closed at this moment is our church building. Why am I saying that? We should take people there which are orphans. We should take people there which are street kids, and not more than 50 as the regulation of the country, as our President Cyril Ramaphosa said. And we should have those people there. And if they are there, the government would have access to help them there. And we as the church, we play our part, we play our role. We go there, have 2 or 3 people to go there and cook for those people and make sure that those people have enough blankets so that we can play our role as the master desires. Instead, we are having services at home, which is good, which is all right. But we are having services like people sending videos. We are doing conferences on Skype, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and so forth and so forth. But those people who attends to their need, the government tried to bring an initiative which was not enough. For instance, I'm crying about my local hometown in the Lady Brand. Here is what am I saying. The government enforced or put in place 21 days lockdown. But we have no one in our town who has gone out to test. If there is that someone, it's either a person who went to big cities. If it is that someone, it is someone who had flu symptoms, who had fever symptoms, that went to the clinic, that went to the hospital, then they had the opportunity to check them there. But besides that, no one was tested, no one got checked. So that is my concern, is why did we not help the people around us? Why did we not help the people in our communities? Because at the end of the day, we'd be going back after the 21 days and we would want to preach the message to them. But at this time of need, we did not show a helping hand. That is my cry. So I would like to say to the president, please, as much as we got orders, as much as we got letters, as much as we got encouragement from our conferences, from our local churches, from even the general conference, that we should cancel the Holy Communion, we should cancel any meeting of promotional departments, we should cancel the Lord's Supper, we should cancel the baptisms until further notice. Why did we not take the opportunity and open our churches for not more than 50 people, for not more than 100 people, as our government in South Africa has stated, has said, so that we can help and alleviate those people which had need, and which we can help the state by allowing them and saying, we have so much people in our church, can you please come there and check and test those people in our churches in order to see that whether they have this disease or whether they do not have this virus. So instead, we took the fall, and when the government declared 100 numbers, we started declining in our churches. When the government said 50 people, it went there. I was sad. I was truly sad when I was contemplating these issues, and I sent this video to you, Brother Ted Wilson, in asking that we are to come to the forefront. Just last week, we had buried someone in our own street. There was no tent, there was not more than 50 people to go and bury that person. Literally, the person was buried by her own family. What's worse, she was very young. She was about 17 or 18 years of age. She had to be buried by few members of her family, which saddened me that we had the opportunity. I, for one, could not attend on the Sabbath, but during the week, I made sure that we go there, we go dig the grave, we go slaughter the animals which were needed to be slaughtered, we go hunt or go for wood that was needed to cook anything that needed to be cooked. Now, just today, I met my friend who told me about one grandmother who had no person to bury her, showing that this is indeed a time of crisis. So I would like to say, those street kids that we have, we be allowed the opportunity to go and open our churches. Once we open our churches, we invite these people in. Once they are there, we use the money in our coffers, which we still have as churches, or as church members can donate the money so that we can help these people with food, we can help these people with sanitizers. The government is struggling, but the church can do something for these people. Now, I say this not in a bad way, not being angry, but I'm saying this because it's what we are called to. Now, it is there then we can have an opportunity to also start evangelizing to these people. And once we start evangelizing to them, it will be much easier when we come in with the bulldozer of the three angels' messages to them. So, my president, this is my request. Allow us to go and open the church, but within the restrictions of the government about saying 50 people, 100 people. We will fully obey that. But then we have those street kids there, which will not be more than 50 in our building, so that they can have food there, so that they can be tested there because they are not tested, so that they can also have an opportunity to see that there is someone who cares about them, and they should hear the word of the living God. That will be the main purpose. Now, as I conclude this message to you, my brother, I would like to read a quotation from two books. One of them, it is called The Desire of Ages. The other one, it is of course that wonderful great book called The Great Controversy. I would like to read these two quotations, my brother, for you and for the church leaders and everyone who needs to hear this message. And this is from page 350. It says, "The followers of Christ are to labor as he did. We are to feed the hungry, clothe the naked, and comfort the suffering and afflicted, especially in this pandemic. We are to minister to the despairing and inspire hope in the hopeless. And to us also promise will be fulfilled. Thy righteousness shall go before thee. The glory of the Lord shall be thy reward." Isaiah 58, verse 8. The love of Christ manifested in unselfish ministry will be more effective in reforming the evildoer than will the sword or the court of justice. These are necessary to strike terror to the lawbreaker, but the loving missionary can do more than this. Often the heart will harden under reproof, but it will melt under the love of Jesus. The missionary cannot only relieve physical maladies, but he can lead the sinner to the great physician who can cleanse the soul from the leprosy of sin. This is what we are called to do. So I would like to continue with the quotation. It says, "The disciples on their first missionary tour were to go only to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. If they had now preached the gospel to the Gentiles or the Samaritans, they would have lost their influence with the Jews. By exciting the prejudice of the Pharisees, they would have involved themselves in controversy which would have discouraged them at the outset of their labor." So we are called to be doing this work in this time of crisis, in this time of need. Now, the last quotation will be from page 355, which this one, it is directed to you, it is directed to me, it is directed to anyone who will hear and heed this message. It reads as follows: "Jesus himself never purchased peace by compromise. His heart overflowed with love for the whole human race, but he was never indulgent to their sins. He was too much their friend to remain silent while they were pursuing a course that would ruin their souls. The souls he had purchased with his own blood. He labored that man should be true to himself, true to his higher and eternal interest. The servants of Christ are called to the same work, and they should beware lest, in seeking to prevent discord, they surrender the truth. They are to follow after the things which make for peace." Romans chapter 14, verse 19. But real peace can never be secured by compromising principle, and no man can be true to principle without exciting opposition. Their only fear should be lest they surrender the truth and thus betray the trust which God has honored them with. So that is the quotation, my brother, which I am sending to the church members, which I am sending to the movement leaders, and which I am sending also to myself. As I close with this famous book, which is called The Great Controversy, on page 604 to page 606. It reads as follows: In every age, in every generation, God has sent his servants to rebuke sin, both in the world and in the church. But the people desire smooth things spoken to them, and the pure, unfurnished truth is not acceptable. We are told about reformers, my brothers. This is what we are told. They were impelled to zealously to declare the truth and the danger which threatened souls. The words which the Lord gave them, they uttered, fearless of consequence, and the people were compelled to hear the warning. Thus, the message of the third angel will be proclaimed. So, I urge you again, my brothers, allow us as church leaders, you should allow us as members, as elders, as pastors to open the doors of our institutions, the doors of our schools, the doors of our churches, so that in South Africa we can have not more than 50 in those buildings in order to help them. Also in order to help the state to get those people to be tested so that we can go through this pandemic and defeat it. This is my message to you, my brother. This is my message to myself. This is my message to all our leaders in the union, in the division, in the conferences, and also in the general conference. We plead with you. I personally plead with you that you allow us to do that so that the message can go anywhere and everywhere in this world. May God bless you with your leadership, and we ask, or I personally ask and say, may the good Lord give you strength to positively answer to this message. And may good Lord bless you. Thank you very much. Thank you, and thank you very much.